This is Tom Dillon, the Lifetime Liberal, and today is Tuesday, August 17th, 2021. The title of this rant is, I wonder who funded the Taliban who bribed the Afghans. Again, we were lied to year after year by the generals. It'd be interesting to find out as we look further into this if the generals actually lied to our presidents. But the presidents took the most rosiest scenario and then portrayed that out. At the same time, there was tremendous war profiteering by U.S. corporations, making shitty stuff all over the place, especially in Afghanistan and Iraq. And one thing that we really needs to be looked into, because we knew this right from the beginning, was the totally unrealistic expectations that the United States military, maybe through pressure by the presidents at the time, on the Afghan people. I mean, this was a third world country, one of the poorest in the world, no real central government ever, warring factions all over the place, high poverty, extreme illiteracy all over the place, no real allegiance, never really had a ever functioning central government, etc. And, we expected to arm them and train them and make them a fighting force in, that short a period of time, when at the same time we knew that commanders were stealing payroll of people in the army. They were getting poor equipment, all of that kind of stuff. We knew all of this was going on the entire time. And when Trump had a deadline of pulling out by May of 2021, that gave such a green, and let people out of prison, the Taliban out of prison, that gave such a green light to the Taliban, knowing that we were going to be gone. And they were then able to start out with all the hamlets, villages, whatever you want to call them, the smaller areas, bribe the people, let them go through, disarm, blend into the population, and then, just go all the way up to the larger cities, medium-sized cities, big cities, etc. And that's how it became a bloodless coup. And of course, the real thing is how did our military intelligence fail to see this? When Joe said it would probably take a year or more for this to happen, if it was going to happen, that was based on military intelligence. When the last more than a year, the Taliban has been doing this bribing. And of course, where is that coming from? It's coming from basically two countries, Pakistan and Saudi Arabia. And we knew this in 2002, that when bin Laden fled Afghanistan, he went into Pakistan, and Pakistan was giving training. They were giving cover. They were giving a free haven. They were giving logistics. They were giving arms. They were protecting them the whole time. And of course, many of the people in the Pakistani government and the Pakistani military were all behind the Taliban in doing this, because they wanted, in essence, a good hand when contracts would be handed out in Afghanistan later on. So they were behind them all the way, and the Saudis were behind them all the way. They were giving the Taliban money all over the place to do all that stuff in Pakistan. And who attacked us on 9/11? Oh, yes, it was the Saudis. And of course, Americans have known this. The Saudis play this double game all the time. We've known that for 50 years. But at the same time, Bush especially turned the other cheek to all of that when all this was going on and didn't do anything about it. So in a lot of ways, if you really, really look at it, the venture, and Joe even said we were there to get rid of bin Laden and get rid of the Taliban, and that's what we did, and we should have gotten out then. We decided to nation build, and we were doomed from the start. There was absolutely no way we could have done anything. Maybe shouldn't put it that way. We were doomed is that we could never put together something like what we have in the United States in Afghanistan. It probably would have taken 100 years. And so we were doomed. And in business, if something's not working, you make an assessment and then you cut your losses. And that's what we should have done 10 years ago, 15 years ago in Afghanistan. But we were lied to by the generals. We were lied to by the presidents. Joe made a stand. We also have who were stabbing us in the back the whole time, Pakistan and Saudi Arabia, and we just took it and we kept on saying we're going to make a real country out of Afghanistan, and it was never going to happen. So we have to let Joe know that, yes, this was the right thing to do, because we could have put in trillions more for the next 20 years and the same thing would have happened.